So this is the introduction of the information system development. So in this slide, we are going to learn many things. So what is information system and why information system? Some history about the IS or the information system development. What is a web page and how the web works, and I will give you a simple introduction of Django. So what is information system? We got the information system because all the system, for example, we have people, hardware, software, data, networks. So we want to put them into a resource or a system so that we can produce information. So information, it is a result of managing information system resources. So the resources are data, people, hardware, software, networks. So if you can manage this one, then it means you are now creating information system. So the information system, how to manage the information system resources so that the information can be optimally retrieved. So you have machine, you have software, you have people, how to create the data and how the networks can manage them. So it means you are now creating information system resources. Or the other things, you have people, you have truck, you have smartphone. You can get the data, you can use the GPS, you can use the mobile data, and again, you can manage the information system. So we can produce any good information. So the information system development means you will develop something, how to connect the components, how to connect the hardware, how to connect the software, how to connect the people, and the data collection and the information reporting, so that at the end we can show the result. So we can show report, we can show information. So the idea is simple, but when you try to do it in web programming, it's not that simple. So the result can be produced by collecting the data and generating report and or information for the purpose on management information system, or we call it MIS. So why information system? Based on the theory, there are 4 major types of information system. Because we are in the industrial engineering, so you need to know this kind of information system. Based on the functional, there are information system about sales and marketing. There are information system about manufacturing and production. There are information system about finance and accounting. And there are information system about human resources. So these 4 are the key point in industries. It is on the functional areas, but we can also see the system based on the level. In the level, so there is a level for operational. In the operational level system, it is about the order processing. or material movement, payroll account payable, employee record keeping. If it is higher level, so it is management level system. It is used for the decision support system. It is used for the management information system. So we can have, for example, sales management or sales region analysis, inventory control, production scheduling, annual budgeting, profitability analysis, and etc. After you build this management level system, then we can go again to the upper level. We call it strategic level system. So if you have all the data, then we can make some plan. What will be the best plan for next 5 years? What will be the best plan for the next 5 years in the operation plan? What is the best for the profit planning? And what is the plan for the human resources? For your project, I think you need to focus on the operational level. Okay. So when you build the web, I think you need to focus on this level, because this level and this level is different. And when you finish with this level, you can create something like analysis or web analytics or business intelligence. So when you finish with this one, you can make the dashboard to support the decision from the management level. You can make some information system with the management support system and so on. So maintaining the data and the information flow is important. You will learn in one semester about front end. We call it front. Okay. Front means something that you want to see, what to display, when to display, whom should see, who can access, where to display, how to display. Okay. So those are the questions that the front end will do. So that's why nowadays there are many jobs related to the front end engineer. So front end engineer should solve this problem. Back end. When we do the front end, it means some things related to display, or sometimes we call it user interface, UI. For back end, it is what to save, when to save, whom should manage, who can access, where to store, how to manage the repository. So this is the task for the back end. That's why in the back end, you will have more things related to database. You may need to understand the data structure. You may need to understand about the algorithm and so on. So everything should be in one place. You need to understand the front end and the back end. So in one semester, you will learn all those things. Before the mid-exam, you will learn about back end in most of the lectures. After the mid-exam, you will learn most about front end. So that's the distinction between the before mid-exam and after the mid-exam. And nowadays, the people goes toward full stack development. Full stack development means if you understand the front end, and if you understand the back end, so we can make them into one. So the full stack means full front end and back end at the same time. So if you have the knowledge about front end and you know about the back end, so you can connect to any other devices. For example, you can develop the mobile app. So the mobile app user interface, you can use any tools. So there are many tools nowadays. For the front end, yeah, most of them are related to the HTML and some tools like jQuery, Backbone, and CSS, JavaScript. For the back end and for the middleware, yeah, it is more about the computer programming. So you need to understand how the Pythons work, or maybe we use the PHP, we use the Node.js, Spring Framework, J2EE, C++, ROR, and so on. So there are many things related to the middleware and backend. For the database, yeah, of course, it is the connection between the backend and the front end. And if you are dealing with the big data, you need to install the big data tools. For example, the Hadoop or Spark, Elastic, and so on. So I cannot explain all those things in one semester. We can just pick something from this one. So you will learn not all of them. You will learn the most important thing in one semester. So some history about the information system. In back to 1950, so people only just try to figure out how to process the data. And in 1960 until 70, people tried to just make a report. So they developed what they call as management information system. Between 70 until 80, people try to make decision support system. In 80 until 90, people try to use some terms like strategic and end users. In 90 until 2000, people use the term electronic commerce or e-commerce. So we use the e-commerce like Coupang, and then we bought some devices from the Amazon and etc. It was started on 90 until 2000. And now I think we come into the era not only information system, but it is connected with the AI. So in 90 until 2000, when people develop the e-commerce, they mention as the client server higher architecture. So the client means the user. The server means the company. So if you want to connect to the Amazon, then Amazon should have a big server. If you want to connect to Coupang, then Coupang should have a big server. But in 2000 until 2015, people developed the multi-tier architecture. So the multi-tier architecture means there will be some middle tier. So the middle tier is in between the user and the company. So this is another kind of business, or this is another kind of services. So for example, you want to buy something at Coupang. So you need to do something related to the payment. So in the middleware, there will be something related to the payment. For example, I use Visa credit card. So the payment will be connected to one company, and they will do the verification. So if the company already verify your credit card is correct, then you can do payment on coupon. In this era, people use the full stack architecture. It means you have the devices, not only mobile, but you can also use the tablet or you can use the desktop, and then you will connect to some kind of proxy. And then in this proxy, there will be the private network. So the private network, it might be something related to the company. So we cannot see what is the network inside the company. So in the company, they will do something related with the landing page or something related with their own web application or something related with their API. And then they will connect to the database and so on. So the full stack architecture is now becoming a trend in this information system era. So this is another example about the information system for the supply chain management. If you understand the supply chain, it means we are managing the information not in the single organization. So the supply chain will start from the supplier. The supplier send the materials to the manufacturer. The manufacturer produce the product and then send to the retailer, and the retailer sell the product to the customer. Then there will be a kind of information flow. So this information flow, there will be some resources, there will be a process, there will be a software, there will be people, there will be data, there will be networks. So everything should be safe and everything should be managed. So this is the information system for the supply chain management. This is another example. This is an example from Kupang. So in the Kupang, they have the Kupang data platform. So in the big data platform, they have the server logs. So how the server runs and save the information. They have the client logs. So what the clients do, what the clients click, what the client save, what the client select the products, and etc. They have the client logs. The relational means something related with how the clients connect to maybe the insurance company. The clients connect to the transportation company, and so on. There will be no SQL data and some other external data. So the data sources will be in the data collection. They will have some tools about the data collection and they will put it into one kind of scheduler before they do the data processing. And at the end, they will do some analysis for the end user. For example, they can use Hue, W, Zeppelin, CLI, internal tools, and so on. So you can see the information system is not that easy. Okay? It is a kind of flow. And if you already learned many things in our department about industrial system, so the information system will be easily understand. It is a flow from the supplier, or it is the flow from the data into the end users. The future is about X as a service. X, what does it mean by X? X is anything. Okay. So it can be infrastructure as a service. So now infrastructure as a service, you can connect to the Amazon Web Service. Platform as a service. So you can connect to the Salesforce. Salesforce is a platform. So when you connect, you need to pay some money, then you can just use their platform. Software as a service. So for example, yeah, we are going to use the PyCharm. PyCharm is a software. And whenever we want to use the PyCharm, we need to pay. And it is connected to their server. So it is a software as a service. We pay as long as we use it. And the other thing is more about the full stack, but it is more about the blockchain architecture. Yeah, I cannot explain this one because it is too technical and then it is too advanced. So if you have interest on the blockchain, maybe you can try to figure out how you can learn about this one in the future. And nowadays, the development of this information system will be about what we call as DevOps or development operations. The development operations means we have a plan and then we try to operate it into the line, for example, into the production system or into the operation, into the inventory management system. After we deploy it, and then we try to build something. And then after we build something, we make a plan, and then we operate again, we deploy, and then we build again. So this called by the CI/CD. CI means continuous integration. So the continuous integration means when you build your framework, when you build your information system, you can directly apply it to the real world. You can apply it to the company. So continuous integration. The data will be always connected, continuous integration, and continuous deployment. It means when you finish with your development, it will connect directly to the company. That's why they call it CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment. It is to accelerate the delivery across application lifecycle management. So when you enter a company, big company, they will use this kind of DevOps. Because our project is not directly an application to the company. So I think your project will be only until this part. So when you enter a company, you need to integrate with the deployment and the operation. So what is a web page actually? So web pages are text files. Text only based on the script, like you do the programming. And it contains HTML. So what is HTML? We will check later. HTML. H means hyper, T means text, M means markup, and L means language. So we call HTML as hypertext markup language. It is a notation for describing the document structure and the format. So the document structure means we can see the semantic markup, whether it is now in the header or in the body, whether it is the title or it is in the footnote, and so on. Formatting. So formatting, it can be something about the text, or it may be about image, or it is about table, and so on. Looks like a Microsoft Word document. So if you understand how to create a document in MS Word, then the HTML is similar to that one. So the markup text provides information about the page content structure. So you can see here, we will check later after this hour. In the third hour, we will learn the simple HTML. So we have the HTML, we have the head, we have the title, we have the body. So this line will give you a result like this one. So in the Microsoft Word, you can see hello world like this one, but actually on the code, you will see something like this. So the web page actually not only one single code. There can be some variant for the web page. So the most prominent technology for making the web page is based on the ASP, Active Server Page. So the ASP actually, it is based on the Microsoft. It is developed first by Microsoft, and at the first time, many web pages, HTML, was based on the ASP. During the development, people try to perform different kind of programming language. They call it PHP or hypertext preprocessor. So this PHP is very unique because they have their own programming language. So if the ASP, they use the multiple programming languages such as C#, VB, F#, but the PHP is not possible for any programming language. There is another kind of web pages using the JSP. They call it Java Server Page. JSP. It is based on the Java. So if we don't have any Java class now, but if we use the Java, it is more about the object-oriented. ASP based on the Microsoft with the C# Visual Basic, it is also object-oriented. But the PHP is not object-oriented. So it is weak. That's why many people like to use PHP. However, when you do with the PHP, it is difficult to extend. It is difficult to work in a team. And there are many limitations to develop this PHP, even though many countries use PHP. And in terms of the data control, the data controls, the ASP and the JSP is good, but the PHP, there is no data control. That's why some countries do not use PHP. I think in Korea, mostly they use the ASP and JSP. And nowadays it becomes a trend to use Python because they want to connect to the machine learning. So for the database support, you can see this Microsoft SQL. And Oracle is a big company on the database. The JSP can support the MS SQL and Oracle. For the PHP, because it is not based on the object-oriented language, many databases can connect to PHP. And other things. So I cannot explain one by one about the difference, but at least this is the history about the web page. In creating the HTML page, we have a file. Okay. The HTML file must have .htm or .html. So later on, we will make a simple HTML and HTML file. And HTML is not difficult. So you don't need PyCharm. You don't need to have a good tool to make the HTML. You can use Notepad, MemoCharm, or yeah, Notepad++, PSPad, and etc. Or you can use the HTML editors. This, do you know how to spell this one? Because this is YCV. It's not easy, okay? YCV. This is the step one. What you see is what you get. Okay? We call it YCV. When you try to do this YCV, okay, there are some editors like Microsoft Word. You can also use the Visual Studio to develop the HTML editors. And we can use the online editors. So nowadays there are many online editors for free. Okay, so let's see one. Let's see this one. Okay, so this is the free online WYSIWYG HTML editor. So this, the right one is the, in the right section, it is the code. This is the HTML code, and the left one is the result that you can see. So what you see is what you get. You see this one, and the code is something like this. And you can see here, this is the HTML. Okay. This is the HTML, and then we have the CSS editors as well. Okay, just let's focus on the HTML first. So this HTML, if you want to create like the left part, you need to make the HTML in the right part. I cannot explain all the things, but at least you will learn some basic of this HTML. Okay, so you can try other online editors if you want to try it later. So I think you know what is the difference between front end and back end. What is the difference? Front end is about the display, about what you will see, or sometimes we call it as the user interface. What about backend? Backend is about how to save your data, how to manage the access, how to deal with the data, when to access the data, when to process the data, and so on. What is HTML? It is hypertext markup language. Okay. And what is the difference among them? ASP, PHP, and JSP. Yeah, some ASP and JSP is more about the object oriented. PHP has weak object oriented. ASP is based on the Microsoft. JSP is based on the Java. PHP is many programming languages can work for this PHP. Okay, so you can look at the table before. So now how the web works actually. When you see the web page, there is a specific collection of information provided by a website and displayed to a user in the web browser. Let's see in our website, our university website. Okay, so this is a web page. Why? This is only a single page, only one page. But when you click on the Hakyu Tongbu, there will be another page. When you click to Ikhat Ane, then there will be another page. If you click on the Tehak or the Hakwan, there will be another page. So a website means a collection of web pages. So there are many web pages, and if it is a collection, then we call it this is a website. A collection of web pages that is accessible through the web browser. So when you make a website, means you will make a lot of pages. And web browser means the software that a software application for accessing information on the www or World Wide Web. The website will be opened in the web browser in accordance to the web browser requirement. If you are the Mac user or iOS, you will use Safari as the default web browser. If you are using Microsoft or Windows, then you will use the Microsoft Edge as the default web browser. Now I'm using Chrome as the web browser. This is another web browser. There's also another web browser, for example, Opera, Mozilla, or DuckDuckGo, and other things. Okay? So people try to develop their own web browsers because they have their own another requirements. So the World Wide Web, it means it is the classical client and server architecture. I have the desktop or I have my smartphone. So I can go to the web browser, let's say using the Google Chrome, and then there will be what we call as the request response protocol, or they call it HTTP. So HTTP is the same with the HTML. It is hypertext transfer protocol. So we want to transfer our text from the web browser into server. So there will be HTTP page request. After we request something to the server, then there will be HTTP server response. So the server will give response and send to the web browser. So this is the very simple mechanism. So client will run the web browser and the server will run web server software. So that's why you can access any website as long as the server connects to the web server software, for example, Apache or IIS and etc. So we are going to use Django. Okay. What is Django? And just a simple introduction about Django. So Django framework is a Python-based web framework. In computer programming, yeah, I teach Python, and then in data structure and other courses, they are also using the Python. So our department wants you to learn Python from the first year until the fourth year. That's why all the materials about the programming, about the data science, and about the business analytics, we use Python. Okay? Also, this course, I use Django because it is a Python-based web framework. And Django applies rapid application development methodology. It means when you create a web project, then it will automatically give you a simple web pages. So everything's already included in the library of Django. So there are many companies already implemented the Django framework. Maybe there will be also question. Django is Python based, and Flask. Have you ever heard Flask? Flask is also a Python based web framework. Flask is simple. Django is more advanced. For companies using Flask, usually they will connect to another library. So you need to understand more libraries. For example, the JavaScript library or Node.js library and so on. For the Django, because it is a framework, so you can just use Django to connect to many things. That's why I use Django, because it will be easier for you. It will be easier for the industrial engineering students. For the implementation, I think big companies use Django. For example, this is Pinterest, Instagram, okay, and other companies, Coursera, Udemy, they use Django. Flask, yeah, some big companies like Netflix, yeah, MIT Courseware, they use Flask. For the Django, it is a full stack web framework. That's why I think it is better to use the Django instead of Flask, because in the Flask, you need to understand this web service gateway interface. Web service WS gateway interface. So it is another way to connect to the internet. So if you use Flash, then you need to understand more scripting. That's why I think it's better for us to learn Django. It is feature packed. It means everything is packed into one. But the Flash is full flexibility. It's very flexible. So that's why you need to understand how to connect to another library. ORM usage, it means this is the object relationship management. It is already built in the package. But for the Flash, they have another way to connect to this object. For the design, they already have the inclusion in the design for Django, but the Flash, it is minimalistic. So you need to understand the JavaScript more to input into the Flash. Okay, so this is the comparison. Anyway, in terms of the easiness for the implementation, I think for you it's better to learn Django. So the database, we will go to what we call as model, view, templates, and then it will go to the web browser. So we will learn in one semester about this one. We will develop the database. After we have the database, we will make how to connect to the database, how to view the data into the view, and then how to create a template so that the web browser can access the template. So Django lies in between. Okay? Django lies in between the client and the server. So there are other things like Apache HTTP server. So if you use Django and if you want to connect to the Apache HTTP server, you need to connect with the web service gateway interface. If you connect to the web browser, yeah, it means you need to understand how to use the HTML, JavaScript, CSS. If you deal with the company, then you need to understand if you use Python, how to connect to the server with the database. So that's the basic mechanism that you will learn in one semester. Okay, so let's have a break. Okay, after the break, I will continue about the HTML basic. So we will learn the very basic about HTML. Any questions, comments? Okay, let's have a break. After 10 minutes, I will continue the class.